red jacket, you glad you dug my jive.
Have some of this hidey ho with me. Have some nicotine, it's a scream and it's free. Have it in your food, you can have it with your tea. As you're thinking and you're pondering and wonder what it be. Hidey ho is a Callaway vibe. Where you're hip and you're clean and you ain't taking no drive. Speaking of jive, I think I was on the label that was a long time
All right,
ago.
welcome back, guys, to Mounted Cigars. We have an awesome podcast and a final podcast of Season 1 for you tonight. And we are here with Rare Pink. We were able to get some Rare Pink this year, and I'm very excited to try this. I have never smoked a Rare Pink by Fuente.
Now, this is a very limited cigar.
Oh, yeah, big
so
time.
if you can come across it, you're lucky.
Yeah, exactly. It's released once a year to selective shops, and we were, I guess, lucky enough to be one of the selected shops. So I was only able to pick a couple boxes. So I picked the there's different sizes. They actually have 5 different sizes of the Hemingway lineup. I picked the Sophisticated Hooker, which is the larger size ring gauge, and then I also picked the Happy Ending. I don't know why. Just thought it was a cool sounding size, so went with those. And we're actually gonna smoke the Sophisticated Hooker on this episode.
Have you ever met a sophisticated hooker?
All right, here you go.
Thank you, sir.
Here you go, sir.
Hey man, thanks.
You're welcome.
It's a long cigar.
Yeah, so the Sophisticated Hooker is what is it, a 7 1/4 by 53, my bad.
It's a 53, and it has a nice, tapered end to it.
7 1/4, that's basically a Churchill, is what we're doing.
It's a big cigar. I smoked one of these the other night. I wanted to try it out.
We're going to light up with that.
Yeah, and this is it's got a beautiful wrap on it,
Really pretty.
and the way it tapers, so it's got a nice tapered tip to light into.
So they call that a figurado.
The figurado,
So it's
yes.
a figurado, yep. So anytime you see a cigar that is not straight, it's going to have a little bit of a tapered end on either side. They actually call that a figurado. That comes from the Cuban side of the cigar world. So I think it's awesome. Very traditional. Has a nice, comfortable feel in your mouth when you light it up. I love figurados. The troublemaker from Fuente was a figurado.
Comfortable feel in your mouth.
It's got a comfortable.
All right, I'm going to give myself a little V cut here.
Yep.
How's it smell?
So let me just let you know what we're dealing with here. So Fuente has a line called the Hemingway line. You can buy those any day of the week. They're fantastic cigars. The Rare Pink is an extension of that line, but it's just aged tobacco. And what we have here is Ecuadorian Habano, which I'm excited about. So Ecuadorian Habano wrapper, Dominican binder, Dominican Nicaraguan filler. So there's what you have.
So I think I read something about these Rare Pinks. A percentage of every cigar sold goes to help breast cancer.
Breast cancer
and
awareness,
so
yeah.
they have a nice band on these to have pink in the Arturo band, and then underneath the one that says Rare Pink. It's really well done, and it's a sharp looking cigar. It stands out.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So Carlos Fuente actually is the designer behind these. His daughter, I won't name her or anything, but she lost her grandmother and her aunt to breast cancer. So they decided to make a line, and all the promotions and all that kind of stuff goes towards breast cancer.
It's really cool.
It is. Sophisticated Hooker. You might ask why. Why is it? What the heck is that?
Why? Why is it sophisticated hooker?
Well, interestingly enough, in 2022, Carlos took his daughter to Key West, and they rode a fishing boat called the Sophisticated Hooker, and it was because it was like a 100-year-old vessel with thousands of fishing hooks, sophisticated hooks. So they kind of made a 2-part word with it, and Sophisticated Hooker, and that's what you have now.
So this cigar came with a nice piece of cedar wrap. So we're going to go ahead and use that to light the cigar tonight.
What are you smelling, Doc? How's it coming out?
Kind of a nice,
A lot of natural.
comfortable sweetness. You know, just
So these cigars, here's the deal with these. They start at like $17, $18, but good luck finding them at that price. More than likely, you're going to spend anywhere from $25 to $40 for this particular size. So take your time, check it out.
there's floral notes in the cold pool.
On the cold pull, I'm
yeah,
kind of
right.
getting a grape,
Bingo, definitely.
grape with also like some little bit of floral. I don't know.
Floral, yeah.
That's very floral to me. I don't ever taste floral.
Big time, dude. You nailed that, yeah. So on the cold pull, you got some floral notes, which is kind of nice.
Where are you?
Rose of Sharon has that. Rose of Sharon has that.
Rose of Sharon does have a little bit of floral notes.
And it's similar to this. I wonder if it's got Ecuadorian tobacco.
All right, well, let's give this bad boy a light.
Yeah, so light the cedar stick up. For you guys that haven't done this before, this is a great chance to learn how to do it. So, you could light the cigar many different ways. But the way that, when it comes with a cedar wrap like this, it's nice to light the cigar with the cedar that's provided because it's got the same flavors. And you're not taking, fuel stuff through your cigar because you will taste that, actually. So just kind of get it lit. What you're going to do is tilt it to give yourself some more fuel.
When you tilt it, it adjusts how fast it burns or the angle it burns.
I let it out, of course. I'm not doing the best job.
The doc there's going to burn his gloves.
There you are, just like that. Fully lit cigar. There's a sweetness in the light up.
I'm getting
Confection sugar?
I'm getting some strong oak. I want to say it seems it may sound weird, but kind of like a wet oak. You know, when you soak the oak,
Yeah.
and it gives it a little bit different smell to it. So oak and I get a little bit of that sweetness.
Yeah.
It's almost kind of like a
Convection sugar.
vanilla.
Yeah, convection sugar.
Little
Which
bit of
in-
vanilla.
So they use it for like baking cakes and frostings and things like that. It's just got that vanilla sugar taste.
Oak and vanilla.
Yeah, I'm a positive on vanilla. Do you really got vanilla flavors? It's
like
a
a vanilla.
sugar.
It's like a vanilla cream.
Oh, okay.
The vanilla cream makes sense. I have a hint of floral, a mild pepper,
Little bit.
Little pepper. It's not very strong on the pepper note.
and I think the oak. I'm just not sure if it's wet oak or if it's just kind of combining with some of the other notes.
Okay, do you guys taste that in your mouth? How do you describe that? The notes of this cigar just coated my entire mouth. And I think that's just like aged tobacco.
Tell us about it. What'd you taste?
All the
spot.
flavors of this cigar
Okay, what
just
flavors?
coated my
What
mouth.
flavors did you get?
No, it's not like that. What I'm saying is like you can taste the aged tobacco. There's a distinction there.
Yeah, there is.
Compared to other cigars.
Yeah,
Holy
really is.
Toledo.
Question is, how aged is this? This
Don't
is
know.
the 2024, right?
So this is this year's, yeah.
This year. So, from what I've heard in previous past, that this cigar, the rare pink that they make every year, it gets better.
It's so good.
It gets
What
better.
the
It gets
fuck?
better with time as it ages.
Damn. I just retrohaled for the first time and it was delicious. So the note, the oak, the sweetness that we were just talking about, all basically melded together just now, and that retrohale is very good.
I usually don't get vanilla in a cigar. This is a vanilla.
It's a little different note. It's kind of like a vanilla cream.
The CAO Consigliere, that's got a massive vanilla tones in those.
So, Doc, what are we drinking today?
Hemingway rye, which is a little bit of a combo of some ryes.
I see what you did there.
I really don't know that much about it, but it was on my shelf. Chris and I talked last week about, this is part of the rare pinks are part of the Hemingway line.
Right.
And he actually asked, he's like, do they make a Hemingway whiskey? I'm like, actually they do, and I have one.
What's funny about, so I asked him, do you know if they make it, like, you could do a Google search, right? That's kind of how you find out about that stuff. No,
Yeah.
he has one in his fucking garage just sitting on the shelf like, yeah, I got one of those. Oh, yeah, I kind of forgot about that. What the hell, dude?
Well, I don't really, it's one of these things that I bought it because the guy's like, hey, I only have this one left. It's really popular. It's a little expensive. I was like, all right, I'll grab it. I don't know anything about it, but I'll put it on in. Hemingway, it just sounds a little intriguing just because of Hemingway.
Yeah,
My mom
for sure.
was a English literature teacher, so I heard things like, Hemingway,
Really?
Ralph, Henry David Thoreau, Ralph, Emerson Walden, whatever.
Well, they make cigars out of those, but yeah, the Hemingway that's interesting that they even made a Hemingway liquor. So who actually puts that out? Is it like an umbrella company or is it just kind of a Hemingway?
I actually think it's a company that calls himself Hemingway,
Okay. So they are the
I
group.
was reading the bottle earlier. Yeah, it's bottled by Hemingway Whiskey Company out of Florida.
Wow.
Damn, okay.
It ties in nicely with these cigars. Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, for you
Interestingly
guys,
enough, I've seen a lot of rare pink online, pictures, photos, things like that. They have never had a Hemingway bottle by it. Like the reason why I say that is because Weller's, there's all the pictures have a Weller's bottle next to it. Why not? That's crazy. That's a neat
Interesting.
bottle too.
so this is a blend of straight rye whiskeys finished in rum seasoned Olorobo sherry casks. So, and it's it is 102 proof.
Jeez.
Anyway, yeah, it's a.
Slow down there, cowboy.
Yeah, no
Smoking
kidding.
that pretty fast.
This
In
is
fact, I'm almost don't even want to
delicious.
sip the whiskey because I'm enjoying the.
Yeah,
notes.
the notes on this are outstanding.
really
Okay,
are.
any changes, any additions here? We got. I'm impressed with you guys. You guys are picking up the notes that Fuente has published about these. You guys are getting them all.
Oh, you published something about it?
They published. I did not want to read them until I heard what you guys had to say. You guys are the real deal. You're pulling out the real notes. So let me go ahead and read them.
I just got the like that floral. It's still when I kind of in a cold pool. It's still there.
That's
You
cool.
know, I'm getting a little bit of almond. It's like, I mean, you got that the kind of creamy vanilla and oak. Maybe it's like almond milk. It's vanilla almond milk. Cause I'm getting
drinking my smoothies because
Yeah.
I can't do dairy.
I'm getting some kind of like a bit of almond flavor in this.
Do you want me to read the performance? Or just
Sure.
Kinda... All
Go
right.
ahead.
I'll read the performance for you guys. After a good dose of sweet natural tobacco on the pre-light, when the cigar was lit, it delivered slightly less sweetness, but there was more natural tobacco notes in addition. Notes of coffee, hay, excuse me, I'll back up. Notes of coffee, hay, cream, and cedar emerged in the background. The natural tobacco moved into the forefront. There were some wood notes present on the retrohale. Later, in the first third, the coffee notes joined the natural tobacco notes. Both of these notes alternated in intensity. Some black pepper emerged in the tongue and on the retrohale. The pepper increased on the tongue and retrohale during the second half, while the hay and creamy notes dissipated. So there you go. You're on your way. By the final third, so down to the final third of it, when we get there, the natural tobacco remained in the forefront. Meanwhile, the pepper was the most prominent secondary note, but was rounded out by the coffee and cedar notes. So
Okay.
oak and
So they're
cedar.
going cedar more than the
They're-
oak.
Yeah, I think towards the end.
Well, they're talking about cedar even in the beginning. So I don't know.
It's definitely got a woodsy flavor. I mean, it could be cedar, it could
I
be
would
oak.
say oak. Yeah, that's more of an oak flavor. We've definitely had tasted cedar notes.
Definitely got
in
the
other
sweetness.
cigars. Yeah.
A little bit of pepper right now. I haven't really got any coffee yet.
Yeah,
I
I'm
had
not-
a hint of like something like that on the
retro.
The retro?
no the before I lit it up, just kind of smelling it. There was a little bit of like a either coffee grounds, little hint of cocoa in there, but it wasn't much, just a hint. In fact, the dry or the cold pull with the floral notes was actually
Jeez,
wow.
pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah, and for me that's an unusual taste, which is kind of nice to have something different.
Something different. Yeah, exactly. This is the pull on this is exceptionally perfect.
Hey Doc, I got a business ideal to run by you. Since you seem to be so popular with the gloves, you should get some gloves and put your
Whiskey Roo on there.
Risky Roo on the back and sell them on the podcast.
Right on the cusp. So when you're going smoking, it says Whiskey Roo right there. Right.
That'd be actually pretty cool.
I mean, I could design my
Do your own thing, man. Yeah.
And actually, I had to do this anyway. Is I have to have insulated gloves in the wintertime. And a lot of them are too bulky.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of playing with that idea, but yeah, like these are actually motorcycle gloves that I found, and actually I never wore them for motorcycling. I had them, like I like gloves, which we've already determined, and these actually work out really well. I actually just found a pair of mechanics gloves.
Yes, I like
that
those.
are no straps. They just slide on. It's something like the Fast Fit or whatever. It's a cloth fabric.
But it's comfy.
It really is coming and actually creates a little bit of an insulation in the colder months, which I've been doing. The leather gloves like this, there's no insulation. These things can get cold pretty quick.
Oh, sure.
But I've been kind of playing around with the mechanics softness gloves, been working well, and I have some old like isotoner type gloves that are insulated.
Isotoner?
Yeah, men's isotoner. Remember Joe Montana used to do those? Was it Joe Montana or Dan Marino?
I
One of
don't
them
know
used
what
to do
that is.
the glove commercials.
Oh.
This is 30 years ago.
Okay.
And yeah, I basically have those that are insulated. I like that one on the right hand versus what I have on the left. Like it could be this one or my mechanic glove because I can slide off really fast.
Right.
You know, a lot of times I don't want to use the glove to do anything on the phone, and I'm using my right hand for the phone. So I can slide off, slide on really quickly and easily. So anyway, I'll take that under advisement.
Well,
So let's talk about the cigar. The way this is burning right now, it's burning a little bit uneven. I've got, it almost looks like a hot spot where I have a vein, a stem that is kind of working its way down. It's got a great draw. You know, it's good enough for a one pole draw, but I still prefer to do two. So it's got good smoke that comes out of it. The flavors are nice. They're well balanced. I would say between the woodsy flavor, the natural leather, and the sweet creaminess of it. It's a good cigar on this first third. What do you guys think?
I like the, I definitely, so I wouldn't say it's a coffee note, but it's a coffee cream note is what I'm tasting. So it tastes like,
French vanilla.
yeah, I mean, it tastes like you take, you know, when you get, I don't drink coffee like this, so this is why I'm bringing
He's
it
a
up.
black coffee
I'm
guy,
a black
so-
coffee drinker, so, but if you take just a creamer and you pour it in, you get like that much creamer, and then you fill the rest of the cup with coffee, that's what this tastes like.
Oh, I do it the other way. I fill that much creamer and that much coffee.
Well, that's what this tastes like.
I have a little bit of coffee with my
You
creamer,
have some coffee? Okay, gotcha.
or I just go to Dutch Bros.
This is I'm gonna use a big word, a cornucopia of flavors going on.
I like that.
It's not just one or two flavors you're getting. I feel like there's a myriad of flavors that you're picking up depending upon what part of the puff, the in, the out, or even how you bring it in, and there's a little bit of that ambient smoke that you're still kind of breathing in, and then you're retrohaling it out. There's just a lot kind of going on. Your senses are really being tickled with this, and it's really, really satisfying. So yeah, this is
It's a dynamic cigar.
it
is
is.
what you're
There's
saying.
a lot
yeah.
going on here.
Pulled up.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
Looks like it's the car that you're old.
I think so.
She came in to see me.
Oh, okay.
I have no idea.
I think you're right, yeah. Not a mixed spirit, nope. Yeah, I think this is so smooth. So the ash is holding on really good. When you said you had kind of an inconsistent burn, I actually can't really say.
Yours
mine's
is a
burning
little bit. I mean,
just
you're
barely.
definitely smoking yours faster than ours. I mean, it's not enough that I feel like I need to touch it up at the moment, but it is a little uneven on one side. Okay. Yours is burning pretty evenly.
It's
though.
pretty good, yeah. That ash reminds me of like the La Galera stuff. It's that nice gray cartoony looking ash.
Kinda
I love
tight.
that. I love it.
Tight ash.
Tight ash. Gotta love a tight ash,
Oh, it actually is kind
especially on
of
a Figurado.
because it's not just falling off when I'm tapping it. So it's actually
It's a tight. So that I could hold on to this. I could probably stand this cigar up at the end of the.
which makes me think that this is definitely some long leaf
Yeah.
filler
Yeah.
in there, which I think I like better versus just a lot of the short leaf stuff
Oh, any
because of the ash.
any
pop.
cigar in here is gonna have the long leaf. Yeah, long leaf tobacco. So the short filler crap that you're talking about, that's more in like a $4 or $5 cigar. That's where you'll see that kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you have some cigars, and it just seems like there's barely a half an inch of ash on it ready to fall off.
Dropping, yeah, that's
You know?
true.
So
that's true.
I mean, long leaf can be kind of relative speaking.
Well, I would say ones that the ash falls off easily is probably because it's loosely wrapped. So it's not as tight of a wrap, so there's not as much for it to hold on to. Like as you start smoking it down, it's loose. Like these here, you can tell how tight the ash is, like just from the middle down. I mean, you've seen the ones where it's a little looser and it starts to, looks like it's exploding at the top of the cigar and it's kind of falling apart.
Yeah, yeah.
It's because it's a little bit lighter wrap.
Little right out, man.
I'm getting that coffee.
Yeah.
You getting some coffee now?
note, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it took me. I'm for the new guys. It took me a little bit to get into that. I'm going to slow down a little bit, but this How do you feel the Hemingway whiskey is pairing with the Hemingway cigar? You guys like it? Good pairing?
This is a situation where, honestly, I don't want to ruin them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, especially considering this is 102 proof. That's now 100 proof on. I find it can be a little overwhelming with the taste buds. You're like, oh shit! Like I think you got smacked upside the head again.
Well, I did. Well, I did. But okay, let me back up to. So the Dickel was very strong, but that paired very nicely with that cigar we had.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with the strength as long as it pairs well. Yeah, I wouldn't just sip on the Hemingway probably at a restaurant.
Honestly,
I
with
think
the
I would do
ice in
that.
it, it's really tamed it down some.
Yeah, yeah.
And just like the Dickel, it's made it really smooth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it actually pairs pretty decent with this cigar.
I like it. Mine's starting to sag.
I'm going to need a few times of back and forth. I will say, for the readers, I'm typically a purist when it comes to like bourbons and ryes, which means I don't usually put an ice cube in it.
Mm-hmm.
I put a couple small ice cubes in it, just full disclosure.
Yeah.
I needed to tone down one just because of
100 proof.
yeah. I need to drive away from here in an hour and a half. You know, and
Right.
two, yeah, it can be a little too much straight. But I mean, there's a lot of people out there who like the higher proof stuff. 100, 120, 125, 127.5. So,
That's crazy.
You
That's
know, and if you really like that and you can find a balance, I'd say go for it. But keep in mind, this is a Churchill cigar, so you're looking at probably at least an hour minimum.
Yeah.
Probably an hour 15 of actually smoking it. So balance your alcohol appropriately.
I will say I smoked this one on Thursday night, and I didn't smoke it fast. I just took my time and enjoyed it. And I want to say it took me a little over 2 hours. You know, I was just enjoying it, and
Yeah.
you know, I only smoked one cigar that night, and you know, I started before 6. I meant before 7, and I left about 9. So
I think this is probably it should be about an
Hour and a half
cigar.
yeah.
We probably won't take that long, but that's what you can expect on a Churchill. 7 1/4 is quite a bit of length.
That's what she said.
Oh no.
Yeah, that's what she said.
She's never said that to me. I'd love to say that's what she said to me. No, sorry, buddy. It's all about the Robusto. Shut up. I'm like more of a cheese wheel.
He just liked the bigger girth cigars.
Yeah, I don't have girth or something like that. Just, I'd like the bottle for the Vienna sausages.
Oh my God. Oscar Mayer.
I wish it was an Oscar Mayer wiener.
Is it Hormel who puts those out? Who puts those out?
I don't know, man.
I should know because I'm the model for them, but I just get the paycheck from them and that's it.
Yeah, who cares? You got the money.
You know, speaking of Thursday night, when you had the rare pinky, it took you 2 hours. Chris and I had the Asylum 8x80.
And we smoked it faster than you.
Yes,
You did.
it did. It took me 2 hours. I smoked the same amount. Of
I will
time.
say the Asylums though they have a really nice, easier pull,
They're airy,
and so
yeah.
they burn better. That's one reason I really like the Asylum line.
Yeah.
It's just because, you know, it's a big cigar, but it smokes like it's a Robusto.
Yeah,
I mean,
it fits into the party. You know, it's interesting you brought that up because I thought about that. The other night I was smoking an 8x80, and I'm like, it took me about an hour. And I was like, that's no bigger or longer than the 6x60 that I smoke. Is
these
about
guys
an
are
hour.
compensating for things when they're grabbing these huge
These
cigars.
8x80s?
Absolutely. Why do you think I drive a Hummer H2 around town? It's a compensation vehicle.
Because you
man.
couldn't afford the Hummer H1.
And I lifted my truck 6 inches. Why do you think I did that?
See, big ass truck. And you're the one who drives this like normal size 1500 diesel pickup. You know, you can
Yeah,
drive
yeah,
everywhere.
yeah.
Mr.
What can I
Average.
say?
That's like a car. That's like a family sedan,
Yeah,
bro.
apparently he doesn't need to compensate, so you need to be out of this group. We need more compensation guys in here.
I'll take Jake's Tundra over your little F-1500. I had a Tundra, actually. That truck is badass.
Oh, especially the new ones.
Holy Toledo. No. Well, yeah, the new ones are even better, right? But I bought a brand new off-the-lot 09, and the first thing I did to it was put dual exhaust on there, cold air intake, gave me 409 horsepower. Dude, that's a lot of horsepower for a
Yep.
truck. That was by far my fastest truck I ever owned, that 09 Tundra. Holy Toledo.
We actually just looked at the new Sequoias that had the TRD package in it.
Mine had TRD. Yeah, I
Man,
had the TRD.
that was nice. My wife's like, we don't need TRD. I'm like, you don't need it. It's just freaking cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
oh
pay
yeah,
an
you
extra,
want
like
it.
10,
Yeah.
15 grand for coolness factor.
Here's what I'll say: don't pony up for the TRD. Just buy the stickers. Slap them on there, baby.
Turn around and sell it for a TRD.
Yeah.
I don't know, but this ash is sure hanging on well.
Yeah, this has got a nice tight ash to it. I love it.
Tight ash
I love a
is
Figurado with a tight ash. Oh,
Smack that out.
get out of here.
What's the other rare pinky that's out there?
There's a 1960 vintage. There's actually one I wish I would have got it. I need to look it up. It's one that comes with like 40 cigars. They look like little Hemingways.
Yes,
little
little
stories.
yes.
I should have got that. And so hindsight 2020, next year I will order the one that has all the 40 sticks. I'll probably still get the sophisticated hooker.
Oh
I
yeah,
like it. This is
After
great.
this, hell yeah.
Does it have a different name every year? Like, would this size always be the sophisticated hooker, or
So far they've stayed with the names. Yes.
okay?
So
But which one is the box next to it?
that's called Happy Ending.
Oh man.
So you need to smoke the sophisticated hooker and then follow it up with a happy ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, what can I say?
It's like someone thought that through.
Oh, maybe.
It definitely would be rare and pink.
No, when he called me, Rick Zunt is the rep in this area for Fuente. When he
Thank
called
you,
me
Rick.
up, yeah, Rick's the man. When he called me up, I was like, "What's the biggest cigar they got, bro?" Like that's my answer to every time he calls me. I'm like, "What's the biggest cigar I got?" So he told me the sophisticated hooker was, and then I said, "All right, give me that one for sure, and then I'll take the next biggest size."
So
that's it.
if you can get some of this rare stuff here, can he get you some Opus?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
We're not there yet.
Not there yet.
Okay, we'll keep doing the podcast.
I'm hoping for Eye of the Shark next. That's my next hope.
Do they make the Eye of the Shark every year, or is
Yes.
it? They
yes,
do.
it's kind of like Rare Pink. There's only a few shops that get it. So, and I'm hoping to get there. So.
I know Eye of the Shark was #1 cigar a while back, and I
haven't seen
That's-
it on the list for a while.
That's
Yeah.
one I've never had because
Oh,
you
shit.
just can never find it.
So what it is, guys, the Eye of Shark is it's about this size actually right here. It's box pressed torpedo is what they are. Box pressed torpedoes, and they are outstanding. I've noticed Fuente doesn't do a whole lot of box press actually. You guys notice that?
Sure. I'm just lost in the smoke.
You like the cigar, I take it.
Man,
Okay, hey. Compared to the Troublemaker, where are you at right now?
Oh man, what were we at? Trouble like a 90.
98, bro. That thing was so
That
good.
Troublemaker was really tasty.
Man, fuck you. I gave you a second one, and then you were like, yeah, I smoked it at home. It was just okay.
The first one was great. The second one, like we talked about, the atmosphere where you're smoking.
totally is. It
Smoking
totally
it
is, yeah.
indoor, dude, it was
Knockout.
probably one of the best cigars that
Yeah.
I had all year.
Yeah.
Smoking it at home outside, it was good,
it
but
changed
it changed.
That's a good
Changed it.
point. I'm glad you brought that up, actually.
too.
Yeah, because you come in and buy a cigar at a $40 range. Do not take that out to the golf course. Do not take that home out to your garage and just smoke it, dude. Okay, the producer today is Jake. He gave me a 6x60 Asylum Sensorium. I am not going to smoke that just in my truck driving down the road. I'm going to take my time. I haven't smoked it yet. I'm going to find the right moment indoors and smoke
Okay,
that
so
cigar.
here's the problem. There is not many places indoors around
point.
here that you can smoke a cigar. I mean, you're not allowed to smoke indoors in
Correct.
Oregon.
Yeah,
And there's not many lounges around that you can go to smoke.
good point.
So
So if you don't have a spot at home that's secluded, I guess.
So what I would say actually is your shop or garage with the doors shut, having some type of decent ventilation.
Yeah.
That would be the place to do it. I wouldn't go probably lower than like a 50 degrees in there. 'Cause anything less than 50 degrees was going to, just from what I do a lot of times in the
You're
porch,
right. Oh, yeah.
I think it's going to just change the profile we're getting. In fact, you're going to lose a lot of stuff. We're in here, ambient temperature is probably 68 to 70 degrees. I think this is a perfect place to be smoking it. You don't have any outside forces that are kind of working on you. Like I usually have some great cigars that I really like, and I'll have them at my house on my porch. And like, this is fine. You know, it's good.
I
but-
agree. The temperature that you smoke at changes the way the cigar burns. Changes the draw you get. Changes a bit of everything. So I think that if you get a chance to smoke a cigar indoors, or if you're in a warmer climate area with a higher humidity, smoking outside is fine. But where we're at, it's right now it's pretty cold to smoke outside, and so obviously you're gonna have a harder time keeping it lit, keeping it going.
It'll affect your experience.
There's a lot of moisture in the air, and so you have to
That too. Yep.
take consideration for that.
So I left a cigar in my truck the other day, and I kind of forgot about it. It's been in there for about a week, and with all this moisture we had, it's in cellophane too. I looked at it; every single inch of that thing is shriveled, like tons of moisture in that cigar. So I'm actually excited to smoke it. It's probably going to be awesome.
So my ash has held on nicely. I haven't knocked it off yet. It's kind of getting a little cockeyed, but it's burning. I touched it up once, and it's burning pretty evenly now. I would say I am getting a bit more of the coffee notes as you're getting towards the second third of this. Still got that sweet note. The cedar / oak has kind of tapered off a little bit, and the pepper is still minute.
So I'm down. I'd say that's the first third gone. The cedar has absolutely picked up. I wouldn't call that oak at all. That's definitely cedar. Coffee note is a little heavy, and there is pepper picking up on my side.
I'm gonna knock this off because I don't want it to fall in my lap.
And I just had to fix that cigar. Yes, you saw me do that. But my goodness, the flavor, the meld of flavors here is really good.
I will say the flavors that I'm getting from this one here now is better than the one I had on Thursday. And it could be just because it hadn't been in the humidor long enough from the time I smoked it. I was the first one to grab one of these out of your box.
Oh, were you?
Yeah, of the big stick.
Okay.
So I would actually say that you probably didn't enjoy it as much right now. Right now, we are absolutely analyzing the cigar.
absolutely,
We are breaking everything down, literally.
We're
inch by inch.
pairing.
Yeah, and whereas Thursday night when we're here we're guys, and no
Yeah,
matter
your
what,
mind is-
you're having
yeah.
a hard time focusing. So you probably enjoyed it. It just was more of something you were doing versus something you were enjoying. That would be my take.
Well, and you got so many other cigars being smoked around you that you're picking up notes of,
That's a good
you know.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're breathing in other stuff. Yeah, for sure. So that probably was not a great pick for that night. But
I just wanted to try it, like prior
no, it's
to
fine,
us
yeah.
doing it. And
I wish I had tried it before we smoked it, but that's okay. I'm excited. This is fun. This is a
I
really
didn't.
good
I had that happy ending at home, and I didn't even. I was going to. I'm like, you know what? I'd like to go in kind of blind on this one. And just get a feel for what am I having. I don't want to have any influence.
Yep.
I just want to kind of smoke it, and I think what we're coming out with is just. I'm glad I did.
It's perfect. And I purposely did not say the notes. I wanted to see what you guys came up with.
Hey, Doc, you took your labels off already. Are you having any issues with the outer wrap coming loose at all? So on the one I smoked on Thursday, I had a little bit of an issue with the cap wanting to come a little bit off. And then once I took the label off, I had a bit of an issue with it wanting to come unraveled a little bit. So that's why I'm leaving my labels on right now until I get closer to it.
That's what I'm doing the same thing, Adam. Yep.
I don't ever keep my label on.
Also, I don't know why, but the R in rare is backwards. I wonder why they did that.
Oh, the second R.
Yeah. Did you notice that? Why is that backwards? Interesting.
That's how you tell the real ones from the fake ones.
You may be onto something, actually. That may be right.
The dyslexic person who made these made it so it's harder for someone to...
Hey, now you're talking about Carlos. Dude. I'd bite your tongue there.
Tell you what, if I can find some knockoffs that are this good, I don't give a damn. Sorry, friends.
Yeah.
But that's
If there's a knockoff that tastes like this,
and it's
give
like
it
half
to
the
me.
price.
For 17, I'll take it.
Yep.
I would be interested to take 3 of these cigars and stick them away in a humidor for a year,
I
and
would
then
love to
smoke
do
it
that.
again and
Yeah.
see how much it's changed.
Yep. It will change.
But for the price point, though, I mean, you got to sell what you can sell.
Yeah. They come out once a year. It's a long time to wait. So.
Would you say you're probably one of the only places in the surrounding area that got these?
Yep. Okay. Let me think about it. That's a great question, actually. I bet you Rich's downtown has them. Bet you anything.
I've never been to Rich's downtown.
Ooh, it's a nice shop. Very nice shop. So shout out to Rich. I met Rich and stuff, but he has a very classy, organic shop. Have you been there, Jake? Yeah, very classy shop. Very cool. Good
The
looking
only
place.
ones I've been to around here, I've been to Tim's.
Also, let me say something about Rich's shop, because this is something kind of funny. And a customer said this too. You can go into Rich's shop and you can say, "Hey, back in 2007, there was a box." And he'll sit there and think, and he'll go, "Just a minute." He runs downstairs. He'll grab you a full box of whatever you pulled up on your Google search. He's got them. So that's
There was
what it's
this
for.
box of shark eyes from...
Yes, he's probably got them, dude. It's a crazy thing. It's a crazy thing. Now you're gonna pay for them though.
I have a couple of the Amazon basins in my humidor.
Oh, dude, really?
I just spritzed my humidor yesterday,
So
pulled
nice.
things out, and I've got that one. I've got last year's Weller. By the way, are you getting you haven't gotten Wellers yet?
They're gone, bro. Those are gone.
Seriously?
I asked for another box, and he was like, "I'm sorry, bro. We didn't do that many this year."
That sucks.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting the ashtray.
Sorry,
The
bro.
problem I have
Can you
is
stop
that
touching me?
I get these nice cigars. Like I had some Amazon Basins in mine, and I have a hard time not wanting to grab them and smoke them right away and
Yeah.
letting them age. So I'll get something nice in there. It's like I go looking for something. So
Yeah, that looks
I just
good
want
right
that.
there, I know. Do you know how many times I've looked at that sensorium in the cabinet and I'm like, I should just smoke that now.
yeah.
I have the Troublemaker still.
Fuck you, man. Damn, I want that cigar back.
I mean, it's gone.
Yeah. Man, I can't wait till I get into the box of those. Those are so
I'm
good.
getting a box of God of Fire Series B for Christmas. I'm waiting for
do you
those.
know that?
How do I know that? Because I told my wife that's what I wanted, and then she initially was like, "What's your login for this site that I found them on?" And so she logged in, and then I got the email confirmation that they were being delivered.
Okay, I want to pipe in here. I got, what, am I halfway? About halfway? Yeah, about halfway here. Massive natural earth tones just kicked in.
Massive.
Massive.
So massive.
Like, we're talking earthquake, landslide earth notes.
For
That
someone who
massive.
compensates a lot for things, how do we classify massive? I mean,
Oh.
It's like the
me
vehicle
show
she
you.
and I drive.
smoke it a little more, and then you can.
That's the Hemingway talking. Sorry. Hemingway still writes books, apparently. Thank you, Doc. Fantastic pairing with the cigar.
So
Fuente, if you haven't, just go down the street. Hemingway's there on the block up in Florida, and pick up a bottle of that and pair this because this is.
Or any of the Hemingways. You guys, in fact, I would say even do something with Hemingway. Work with them. Do a special release Hemingway.
Oh.
You know?
Bro, that's gonna be a real.
Something like a floral notes in the
Man,
bourbon.
no doubt,
or
with a
the
little
rye.
pepper, floral and pepper.
You could probably have the master distiller do something like that.
Ooh,
That could
you're
be a
onto
neat
something
thing.
right there. You're
And
onto
then
something.
that could be a neat like
Wait,
Christmas.
wait! I got an idea. Pair with Hemingway and see. Okay, see in this box right here. If you, I don't know, the producer's gonna have to look at the box. So right here, if you put a little bottle of Hemingway with the Hemingway cigars, holy shit!
That's what I'm saying, like a box set,
Yeah.
gift set,
Yeah.
like Christmas time or whatever.
Wells should do the same thing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
When you have the combo pair, like make a gift set of.
And you could sell that at double, no problem. Like that is a neat combo. They're going to do it anyway. So let me tell you, the people that buy the Weller's box, they're going to go buy a bottle of Weller's. So you might as well pair them together and sell them together.
BMC should do that thing with their dip, like the tequila dip. Oh. They should have some things like that. Because someone like me would be like, yeah, every time I grab one of those sticks, that's what I'm going for.
So liquor stores can do that. A guy like me cannot. I just thought of that. So I'm a retail
I was a
cigar
little
guy.
Unless you are certified to be able to sell alcohol here.
Yeah.
And you're in with OLCC, specifically in the state.
Right.
I will say I was a little disappointed with BMC.
What?
Not with their product, but with the they were communicating with me online, and they said they were going to send me some samples.
They never
and
did.
I'm like, okay. And then I reached back out to them a couple times and see if it was on its way, and they just kind of left me hanging. Like they didn't send anything.
I love BMC. So to save egg on their face, I will give you a couple free samples of BMC.
You don't need to give me free samples of BMC. I just wanted to try some new stuff that we haven't had here.
They don't have a lot. So they are sending us the El Cartel, which is going to be, that's in their lineup, but they haven't rolled that for anybody. So they're going to send that to us. That'll be your new BMC. There you go. I got to stick up for BMC, bro. They're badass.
Trust me, I like BMC.
But I know what you're saying. I don't.
But
yeah.
I just, if you're gonna reach out to people online and you're
Yeah.
going to
You're
give empty promises, it kind of you get someone's hopes up.
Fair to say.
And I would even say, because you're sending him free samples, I want free samples.
Oh no.
And
I was a top contributor for quite a while there, buddy. I was liking all their stuff.
Well, I like BMC. I also have noticed their presence in even liking some of my posts on my Instagram page.
Yeah.
So they are like they're paying attention. So I do appreciate BMC for that. They seem like they're
good people.
They're still like
really good
customer
people.
service oriented.
Oh, yeah.
Want to kind of I guess connect with their customers.
BMC's in Florida?
Florida, yes. You know what? I'm glad you this just hit me. Out of all, and I'm saying all of the cigar companies that I'm with, BMC is the only one that will call me up, be like, "Hey, how's it going? Do you need any cigars?" And I might say no, and they're like, "All right, we'll call you next week." They always call me. They always check in. So shout out to BMC. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty awesome because
No other company does
for
that.
you being a small guy in the industry, it's like,
Yeah.
a lot of companies will just overlook.
Oh,
It's
for
like,
sure.
I
Yeah,
got
for sure.
people calling us all the time. I don't need to call anyone else.
They call me all the time, so I appreciate that.
This is a damn good cigar.
I pulled the first band off, which is the backwards R, and now you're going to have, so kind of like the God of Fire, Man of War, you're going to have the two bands. So I see that they followed suit with their rare stuff. They put two bands on the cigars, and the first band, the lower band, is their label of what the cigar is. The top band is their company. That's what Fuente does.
I like the two bands on them.
I love it.
I'm not a big fan of the ones who put a band on the very end of the cigar that you have to peel off right before you
Yeah.
wrap. Because,
Perdomo Habano.
sometimes those bands are glued on there pretty good. And then,
Yeah.
at least if it's pulling off at the end there, you're going to burn right through that and light it.
No, sometimes you light the band up on accident.
Yeah,
That's
you
what
forget it's
do.
there. Uh-oh.
You're at a Holy Smokes party and you're slicing the top and you're just lighting, talking about Jesus, and the next thing you know, you're lighting your paper up.
So, Doc, you mentioned last time, and let's put it out there again. Starting in January, on Fridays
January 10th?
at 7:30, you're going to be starting a veterans group, co-ed. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's it. You already said what I needed to say. So thanks.
Wow.
I mean,
Well, no, elaborate. What is the purpose of the veterans group? I mean, like, what
I'm just trying to have a group that you're not invited to. So, I mean, I had to really think long and hard because, I mean, everything else I put out there, it's like, I don't
He
know what
shows
show
up,
about.
and he
Yeah,
shows up
does.
early.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm a veteran cigar smoker. I'm a veteran bowler. I'm a veteran golfer. I mean, there's a lot of things I can be veteran on.
He's a punctual dude.
He's very punk.
Very punctual.
I don't need to come to a group that you're leading because it just doesn't. You disappear for like 30, 40 minutes while everyone else sits here and then show back up.
I do like to be fashionably late.
He'll set it up and then
That's a cool
disappear.
factor.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool factor.
Yeah, basically, the idea is I want to get veterans together so we can talk about a lot of the common issues that we experience from going from the time that we're in to basically going to the civilian world lifestyle. It is such a culture shock, I guess, because the military is its own culture. It's like its own like country with its governing body. Like we are not governed by the same government that you guys are. The penal system is very different. When you're in the military, basically, if you talk back to your superior, you can lose time, rank, and money. Yeah, there's something like that here in the civilian world, but you could be confined to your barracks room for 30 days because your lieutenant who you talk back to was like, nope, you're not going to do that. So it's going from that to kind of how do you transition into the civilian world. Civilian world is so much harder. And there's so many people like, I'd never go into the military. I'm not going to have somebody yell at me and get in my face, all that. I'm like, you guys don't understand the bigger purpose of all that. None of us like to be yelled at in our face. I hate that like excuse, because you understand like when you're in the military, what it's making you. To be able to handle somebody in your face and chewing your ass out is going to build character, which means, there's really not a whole lot in the civilian world that we can't handle because we were trained so much in the military to be able to come out and handle like tough situations, our work ethic. If they say you better be there at 7:30 for school or work, whatever, we're there. We get it. We know. We're not sleeping in. We're not like calling in sick. Like I don't ever get sick. And interesting enough, my staff, I've got probably 4 or 5 of us that are veterans. They're always there. Non-veterans, oh, this is going on. Their kid's sick. They're sick. It's sunny outside. They want to go be there. There's not the work ethic that you have with veterans. And I'd say any veteran out there pretty much is going to be that way. Which is, if you guys, any employers out there, if you have an opportunity to hire a veteran, you're getting somebody who's going to be there for you and probably have almost your best interest in the business as you do.
So
Wow, that's really well said. I've never heard anybody say culture shock before. That is awesome. That is a really well because that's exactly what's happening. I'd like to add too, you guys are given stuff that you cannot have in the civilian world. There's weaponry, armament, even medical stuff that you guys are given that you're allowed to use, allowed to have. That when you get back to the civilian world, you don't get that. You can't have that. It's like all of a sudden, oh no, you can't have that M16. It's like, wait a minute, dude. I was trained on this. No, you can't push dopamine. No, you can't push morphine because you're just an EMT. Well, I was pushing that in the field. Like there's culture shock. Well said. I really like that. Well said.
So now this group, is it veterans in general or veteran people who smoke cigars? I mean, is it going to be a veterans group or a veterans smoking group?
I'm going to call it a veteran cigar group because obviously we're going to be meeting here at Mount Hood Cigar. And basically, like, look, I mean, honestly, if someone came in here, and especially military, you're smoking cigarettes, or you're dipping, or you're doing something tobacco oriented, I'm just going to say, you know what, come in here, you know, just be here, be present with us, be in attendance, sit here. You don't even have to say anything. You can just listen to what someone like myself, like I'm going to start, I'm going to lead it. You know, I'm going to have a little bit of a little bit of Christianity, like I probably prayed at the very beginning and maybe pray at the end. And if you're not a Christian, it doesn't really matter. We're not here to try to like convert you to Christianity. We're basically, we're brothers and sisters as it relates to the military, like we are brothers and sisters of Christ. So I'm just using that similarity to just basically kind of connect with people. I'd say, like, if you don't smoke anything, just sit here, hang out. Yeah, you're going to be inhaling everyone else's cigar, you know. And I'm not saying by all means start like this habit, but I will say the veterans that I've talked to, that I've said, hey, you know what? Maybe you need to find some you time, and with that, you know, maybe at night times, like once a week or once a month, you just find a time that you carve away from the family. You go outside, you just sit for an hour, have a cigar. If you can, sip on something or have a coffee or just have water. And veterans, I've found, have really appreciated that and have seen it as therapy. You know, and there's people who had, especially military guys, a lot of them have had issues with alcohol. So you don't necessarily need to have the alcohol. That's not kind of part of what we do. I might be sipping on something when we're here. That's just because that's who I am. But by no means feel any pressure to do anything that you don't want to do. I just want you to come here, hang out, and we can kind of start, you know, handling this life that's given to us together. It's one of these things. It's Billy Joel's Piano Man. It's kind of like we're sharing a drink we call loneliness, but it's better than drinking alone. You might be alone out there, but when you come with us, yeah, maybe you are alone, but you're dealing with other people who have similar things going on. So now you're not going to feel by yourself.
And it's like every other group that we kind of do and stuff. It's a safe place, and you know, whatever you say will stay with your guys' group, and you know, people can feel free to not be judged.
Yep, and this group is going to be co-ed.
Yep.
So male and female.
co-ed because I know there's, like, we're in Oregon. There's a lot of the LGBTQ community, and I know several of them have basically been in the military. I'm welcoming them as well, you know, because we still are, like, when we're in the military, I never felt there was racism. You know, I don't care where you're from. When you go through basic training with your battle buddies, you're not like, oh man, you're a black dude or you're Hispanic or you're Filipino. No, that's not a thing. The only thing I saw 30 years ago was we weren't as accepting of the LGBT community. I think a lot of that's changed, especially Obama basically telling you to be who you are, which I don't think that was the best thing to say, just from past experiences. I actually think the Bill Clinton don't ask, don't tell was what I liked, because when you're there and you're sharing a foxhole together, I don't give a rat's ass about your sexuality. You're a brother in arms with me. I need you to cover my back as I'm covering yours. And just be you, and let me respect you because of who you are, not because, well, I'm gay, you have to accept me. Oh, well, I'm trans, you have to accept me. No, we don't have that there. You don't need that. With that being said, one of the reasons I'm doing this is I want to get a feel for who's out there, what are the questions, what are the concerns, what are the issues, and if we find that we get several women veterans in here, let's say they start talking about a lot of the sexual misconduct that went on when they were in the military. At that point, if there's a lot of that, I may have to say, you know what, let's separate this now. You know, and basically say, let's have a women's group that comes here that maybe I can find somebody that can kind of help lead that group, because that way, you know, the women, LGBTQ community can maybe get a little bit more guidance from those that have been there. First, I can't talk about that. I can't help you. However, with that being said, if we do find that, hey, there's women who are bringing that up, but other women who are basically encouraging all that, and it's in this place, then well, we can kind of keep doing what we're doing then. That way we keep everyone here.
Absolutely. I'll add, I'm not a veteran at all, but I have a heart for veterans for sure. One of the things that when we opened the shop, I told my wife, I was like, hey, we're going to honor veterans. We're going to give them a 10% discount. Well, I had to actually back that down because in 2021, we looked back at our records. We had donated $27,000 to veterans. That's a lot of money, dude. That's a lot of money. Now I'm proud of that, but on the same token, we had to back down. I was like, okay, well, let's back that down to 5% because 27 grand. We're a small company. I'm not a huge corporation. I'm not I'm not a big company like that. So we had to back down a little bit. But we appreciate and love the veterans and always give them a discount.
For those of you who don't know, running a cigar business is not a huge moneymaker. I mean, you have to sell a lot of cigars to make a decent profit and make a living at it. There's price ranges you got to keep things by, and if you overprice yourself, you're not going to make it. So it's more about the quantity of what you sell to be successful than about the price you're selling. So it's to make a profit, and with the taxes and stuff nowadays, I mean, you figure you have 1,000. Say you have 1,000 cigars in here. That's $1,000 in tax that you have to pay on all those cigars up front
Before you sell
them.
Yep, that's true. That's Oregon for you. Well, I'm down to past the halfway point. The pull on this is exceptional. I have not had maybe a better pulling experience, but this is really good. Flavor changes. Have you guys gotten anything yet?
Pepper has kind of picked up a little bit.
Okay.
Very much wood. The floral notes are gone.
Yes. Yes.
I'm not really getting much coffee. The vanilla was more in the first half of the first third, which was really nice. I enjoyed that a lot. Definitely wood, some pepper, maybe a little earth tones.
That's exactly what they described.
I'm getting. So. I don't know why I want to say it's. I'm still getting a little bit of sweetness, but it's no longer kind of a vanilla. It's kind of like maybe a bit of a brown sugar.
But it's light, right?
But it's light, like a light brown sugar with the cedar notes.
And is that on the retrohale or the take?
That's on the take.
Oh, really?
So just a little. It's got still some sweetness, but it's no longer that kind of creamy sweetness. It's a little bit of like a brown sugar, but it's also the pepper, like you said, has picked up some. Still got a hint of coffee, but it's more to me like kind of the woodsy with a little bit of sweetness and the pepper.
So I got a lot of earth tones. The pepper is picking up. I agree with what Doc said. Floral notes are gone. And that strong cedar. I think there was a little oak in there. I have to agree with Adam on that. The beginning was oak for sure, like a wet oak.
So here's a question for you.
Hold on. I would agree that there is still like a sweetness, creaminess that kind of is lingering.
Very good.
Not strong. It's not overwhelming like the pepper or the wood. But in the retrohale, it is still kind of there.
Do you think cigars that come with the cedar wrap on it affect and give it more of a cedar flavor? Since it's sitting...
Man, question of the year.
If since there's cedar wrapped around this cigar and it's aging with the cedar around it.
Absolutely.
Is that taste infusing into the cigar some?
Dude, it has to. It has to. Yeah. Yeah, you're on par there. I've never thought about that, dude. You've got an aged cedar piece of wood that's wrapped around the cigar that's sitting in a box. Absolutely. That's good. That's why you're picking up cedar notes. I've never thought about that.
And you got to take into consideration that most boxes are made of cedar.
Well, sure.
Cedar and pine.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And so you those flavors have to kind of tie in.
The cedar notes are going to be there. Yeah. Interesting. I've never thought about that before. Good call, man. Yep. So that makes you think, like, what if they wrap these cigars a little oak strip? Something different. White oak? I mean, there's a lot of different woods you can use. Juniper, dude. Juniper's got a really neat apple. Cherry?
Have some cherry wood or apple wood. That would be kind of interesting.
I wonder if they've ever thought about that. I wonder why cedar is the #1 used wood.
I think cedar is because it's aromatic.
Okay.
The cedar's aromatic, and probably because of how flexible it is to be able to roll something like that and put around it.
Let me throw a little. What if cedar was just super available? Like, is that a thing? Like,
it could be, but they use cedar for a lot of things. Like, if you're going to cook a salmon, they make cedar planks that you cook a salmon on.
What's funny about that? Where do cedar trees come from? Like the Great Northwest, we have a ton of cedar here, right? Have you ever seen a freaking cedar tree in Nicaragua? Where are they getting the cedar from?
The Great Northwest.
Well, wait a minute. That's a business. So I've been told that this is a Spanish cedar. So that's different than our Great Northwest cedar, but it smells the same, right? Yeah, you're thinking those wheels are turning. Where do they get the cedar
Spanish
from? What's
cedar.
Spanish cedar? What? Let me show me a Spanish cedar tree. I want to see it.
That would be a Google thing.
I don't know if I trust Google much anymore. Have you heard about the AI thing that came out about Google AI?
Well, they're doing. They have an AI thing that actually Elon Musk is like
Quantum AI.
Quantum AI.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know anything about that. So
I will say, I think AI now is what computers were 40 years ago. That I think that a lot of us are like, I don't know, or how do you get into it and all that. But I think we're going to find that that's basically going to become part of our daily life.
yeah.
Social media that came out, 15, 20 years ago. All of us have multiple social media accounts. I mean, I think it's the evolution of everything. And I think there's a lot of pros to AI, but I think we got to figure out how to, I don't want to say contain it, but how to use it appropriately. And I think right now there's a lot of people that are using AI to promote themselves in ways that try to make them sound like they're more of an expert at something they're really not. You can write books now using AI. You write, type in certain things, and they're using AI now in colleges as far as students can go now and like write papers using AI. Like, hey, tell me about like Moby Dick. Well, you go to an AI site and type in Moby Dick, and then they pretty much write a paper for you.
So let me ask you, do you remember, so you were college, so do you remember,
of it.
so yeah, me too. So do you remember,
You too, huh?
2 degrees, yeah. So do you remember?
You have 2 degrees?
I have 2 degrees, yeah. But I'm not a doctor, so there you go.
But what? In what?
Science and then medical.
Oh, no
So
kidding.
paramedic.
Good for him. I thought I was way smarter than you, but apparently not.
You are. You got a doctor. I never got that.
Yeah, but that's just
I didn't even get an associate's. Oh, no, sorry. So I didn't even get a master's. Where was I going with this? Doggone it.
I thought I was the smart one. I have a job that I have good
You have a
hours.
job? Good
I
for
get
you,
off,
buddy.
and I can actually
Down
take.
syndrome people.
Hey, you're
can't
ahead
get
of a
jobs
lot
too.
of
I
people
can
in the
actually
world.
I can actually take vacations.
Yeah.
When's the last time
yeah.
you had a vacation, Doc?
Yeah, damn it.
Well, it was Thanksgiving. I took an extra
Or
day
me.
off. Took an extra day and a half.
I got a question for you.
Me?
Because I know Chris
Me or him?
Chris doesn't celebrate Christmas.
There you go.
So Christmas when you have kids versus now when your kids are your son is older and
yeah.
moved out, he comes back. Do you and your wife have any traditions that you guys try and do that you would do without your son or like with your son, like something that you do every year?
Well,
that-
now it's just a gift-giving gangbang, right?
Well, yeah, but it was anyway.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna say gangbang, but yeah, it's a gift-giving experience. So I grew up with a family that was pretty well-to-do. So Santa came on Christmas morning, and there were gifts they weren't even wrapped. This is what Santa brought, pulled out of the bag. Here you go. Usually for us, because I was one of 3 kids, we had areas that we had ourselves. My sister would have her Barbies. I would have my He-Mans or Transformers. My brother, because he was older, may have clothing, luggage. I had a few Christmases where I got musical instruments, so things like that. But Christmas Eve was the night that my dad and mom actually were the gifts that they bought us. And it was pretty phenomenal. Like, we had gifts as tall as we are, stacked up. So we're kind of a little bit like that now, but what we do on Christmas Eve is we usually have just 2 or 3 presents that we kind of open up that are usually things like slippers or pajamas or sweats, or we don't really do pajamas, but it could be a robe for my wife or whatever. So we do that, and then Christmas morning is really where we just kind of sit and we hang out. And I do my best to try to prolong it as much as possible, which means after a few presents opening, can we just take a break, like go refill a coffee, maybe get something to eat, get a little snack, come back. So I try to make our Christmas package opening experience to be like 4 hours. Because the problem I have is by Christmas afternoon is done. You're done. The whole last 4 weeks, 6 weeks, November 1st, starting Christmas season, is done. And what I would like to do, being that my son is older and only 1 kid, is I'd like to start doing a trip after Christmas to where we go do something that is part of the Christmas experience. Not necessarily like Leavenworth, Washington, which is all about Christmas, but maybe, we go to Alaska cruise, Banff National Park, maybe go hit some national park somewhere, Hawaii, things of that nature. Because now, my son is 19, soon to be 20, he's getting up there in age in the sense of he's getting ready to be someone who now can partake in the stuff that we have here. So I'd like to kind of go in that direction. We can start going to like a trip to Ireland, and he and I go and hit distilleries or things of that nature.
So, as your son gets even older and eventually gets married and everything, and no longer is coming over like Christmas morning to open up with you and stuff, is that something that you and your wife will still plan on doing, just the two of you go on a trip or something? Because me and my wife, we've been talking, and we're gonna do we've decided that on Christmas Eve, every year moving forward, we're gonna go to the movies, whether the kids want to come or not. Me and my wife are going to go see a movie on Christmas Eve. So this year we're going to go see Mufasa. There's not a whole lot of good ones coming out this year. Yeah. But, my wife was just thinking something that we can do for just us. Because, the kids are getting older and, they'll come over Christmas morning, but, they're not really coming and going to church with us on Christmas Eve, and because they've got other family now that they're doing stuff with. And so, just trying to make a tradition for the two of us. And, I like the idea of a trip right after.
The thing that I think you're starting to talk about is really starting to plan for empty nesting.
Yes.
My wife and I are empty nesters now. With that being said, my son's not married. He comes home, and so it's for us, our Christmas time is until he leaves to go back to college, and which will be January 5th. And so we've had like about 4 weeks with him, and to us, that's awesome. Like we couldn't have a better Christmas, than having that. But at the same time, what we're finding is my wife and I are leaning in versus leaning out since my son's been gone. And we find that we don't have as much in common as we did when we first got married. But one of my sons are obviously our biggest thing that we have in common, but just hanging out with each other. And I had a counselor who told me that so many people get divorced after they become empty nesters, which is a shame because they really move into what becomes even a more, let's just call it powerful time in their relationship, which is the companionship time. And as you guys get older, which is inevitable, you're going to have health issues, you're going to have stuff going on, and you're there for each other. It's a powerful thing, and I'm realizing it now that, I'm probably more content with being married to my wife now than I've ever been. And I still will joke about window shopping and seeing all the young ladies outside out there. I got social media. There's cute women who pop up on stuff. Sometimes I even kind of explore that. Wow, whoa.
She's really pretty, yeah.
She's really pretty. That's a nice backside she's got there. But it's nothing that I
at the end of the day, you love your wife, you go home.
Absolutely. It's like, Will Ferrell said in Night of the Roxbury's, is like, why go out for burgers when you got steak at home?
Yeah.
And as he kind of said, I am kind of hungry.
Well, I'm glad you kind of, I'll bring something up. We're men. Like, there is beautiful women out there.
Men.
And
We're
guess
men
what?
tights.
God made those women. He truly did. And it's all right to look. Geesh, it happens.
You can look. You're
Like,
just not
touch,
supposed to lust over.
It's correct. Yep. We have our wives, like you said. We got to stay at home, but don't need that. But I appreciate what you said.
I will say that has been kind of something that has come to my foresight lately is the fact that, I have 4 kids. 2 of them have now moved out of the house, and I still got 2 younger. Yeah. And so, my concern is like what happens when we are empty nesters. Like, me and my wife, everything is always tied around the kids right now.
Yep. And
it's been that way for so many years. Like, what's it going to be like when we are empty nesters? So the good thing with me and my wife, we travel a lot. We are always, I'm always dating my wife. We're always going out together. I'm always making that effort that, even though we've been married this year, this next year will be 20 years, that I continue to date. So where I get a lot of companionship and quality time is when we go out of town together. We get to share that, and it's something that we enjoy. I mean, trying new places and checking things out. And I think that's one thing we're planning on doing when we retire is like doing a lot more traveling and seeing stuff that you couldn't really do with the kids.
Well, I'll just I'm not kind of an empty nester, but I'll bring something up. Empty nest is a neat term, but what it really is? It's a loss. You're both, and I think that's circling back around to divorce, is you're both experiencing a loss in the home. Call it what you want. Maybe they're going to college. Maybe it's a good thing, but it's still a loss. You're losing a kid, and people people isolate themselves differently. So like you might have a wife that's doing something different and she's trying to cope and figure out like, hey, I got a whole new world now. I got the next 20 years with this dude. And we haven't really been connecting for 15 years. So I can see why the divorce happens, but on the same token, look at it as a loss. So now as a man, you kind of need to bereave your wife and be like, hey, my wife is dealing with a loss that we just lost a kid to college, and now we have this situation where we're just here and just her and I, and you almost need to look at it as a mourning situation. And there's in college I learned about the 5 stages of mourning. There's I don't know if I'm going to bring them up all correctly, but there's like there's depression, there's a whole sequence. And you almost need to step back and say, hey, my wife's dealing with this. She's got depression going on. She's got this going on. You almost need to go back to those 5 things of loss, because it's not a death, but it's almost similar to.
It's the loss of life that you had.
Okay.
Like for my son being there for 18 years, everything was about him. Like every day was about him. Mm-hmm. What are we doing about him? I mean, it was still about my wife and I too, but obviously he was put at the forefront of it all. Mm-hmm. But the day that my son left for college was the day that life was over. Mm-hmm. My son living in the household, us having that, parents having that contentment of knowing where your child is. Mm-hmm. Now you're sending your child out into the world, and my wife and I noticed that absolute loss. And honestly, it hit me hard. Mm-hmm. I haven't been that emotional about anything in my family since like probably my son was born. Mm-hmm. I lost a dog a few months after him. That was my first dog. I was younger. It was pretty traumatic, but even family members who have passed, I did not have the mourning that I had after the day that my son left us to go to college, which is what we're kicking him out of the nest, man. I'm sorry, buddy. I love you, but because I love you,
get out and go. You need to go.
But it is absolutely a loss, and my wife and I have, in the last year and a half, have really had to figure out, what do we do now? Mm-hmm. And we've kind of got things dialed in. I'd like to do more things like going out to dinner, because like Adam, dating, I think that's a perfect thing to be doing, is always date your spouse. Because I can tell you right now, you think being married to someone and empty nesting is hard. To be 50 years old and to go out in this world single now, and you're doing it by yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And you think that's going to be easier? No. You think that's going to create a lot more happiness for you? I'm sitting here going, no, that's not going to happen. I can tell you the grass is not greener on the other side.
No way.
And if anything ever happened to my wife, I'm not getting remarried. My wife is my soulmate.
Amen to that.
She is the strength to all my weaknesses. We make a great pairing couple. My dreams have her in it, so I just can't think of my life without her. And if anything ever happened to her, I don't want to change the potential of what it would look like in heaven when I would be able to kind of see her again. I don't be like, well, I was married to this one and this one and this one. Yeah. I'm going to be in heaven going, whoa, who do I, like, what?
I hope I pass away before my wife does. Because, like you said, I don't know what I would do or what I would be without her. She has been the glue that holds our family together. She is just, she's the opposite of me. Like, as far as, we complement each other in our differences. And, that's what makes us have such a strong relationship.
Well, you guys are making this podcast sappy. Let's move on here.
It's important, man.
I think
we hold up our
wives. A great reel that we need to share with our wives. Wink, wink, hint, hint.
I got you.
For my wife and his wife to kind of see that your wife, whatever. But,
she's probably the only one watching right now.
Do we have anybody on?
It looks like just me. We had someone come on beginning, Joseph.
Well, you guys started talking about wives. It got boring. So
Joseph Rogue, he came on and was asking about tasting notes right away.
Yeah.
And then I was on there, and then Dixie made a comment.
So I'm actually down to the last quarter of this little thing. Any flavor changes? Well, you got a bunch to go. You're actually
he's been talking too much.
I've been listening to you guys just smoking away. So the pepper did not pick up as strong as I thought it would, but it's still a slight pepper in there.
There's definitely still pepper there. Mm-hmm. There's still
just not that strong.
Creaminess, sweetness.
Yeah.
Still the wood flavor.
I think like the rest of the flavors kind of melded in.
I'm getting a little bit more coffee notes as I get down here towards this the start of the last third. Still you know, still got that woodsy cedar with the leather and
I'm
the
curious.
pepper. Like you said, it's really kind of tapered off. I like the amount of pepper it's giving. It's not too spicy.
No, not
So
at all.
it's like a red pepper, but it's not burning your nasal cavity when you do
No,
a retro.
retro. Yeah, exactly. Well, there's plenty of Dominican in here.
Yeah.
To balance out. So
I must say, I got to give thanks to you for this shop here.
Absolutely.
Because without this local hangout that we have, I mean, none of this would be possible. You know, the friends that we have, the connections we've made, and being able to spread the word of God with the group of guys that we now have, and having this safe location to come to and enjoy it, and you to provide all these cigars for us it's just been a blessing.
thank you. I appreciate that.
And what's also, and from a business standpoint, you've created an environment for people to come together, and what you're doing is you're actually paying square footage that you're not making money off of in here. You know, this whole front half or front third is not a money-making space, but what you've created is a space for people to come in and do what we're doing, to be able to have Holy Smokes here, to be able to have a veterans group, you know, for other people out there to basically, you know, bring their groups in here and find a place where they can fellowship, have a cigar together, and basically come together and unite and realize that, you know, they got brothers and sisters that are there for them. Like, you know, this shop has gotten to where I have more friends now than I ever have before. I mean, guys that I can absolutely call on.
Yep.
I'm not going to call anybody at 2 a.m. You don't. It's got to be like work hours or whatever.
Call me 2 a.m. I'm up. Usually.
I'm not. Don't call me at 2 a.m.
I'm your guy.
I'll
I'm your
test
2
that
a.m.
theory.
guy.
Let's see if he answers.
I'm your 2 a.m. guy. Don't worry about
I
that.
will actually remember, you know, keep that in mind. But
Yeah.
you know, it's been phenomenal. And then even as my wife and I are realizing that we don't want to make Oregon our forever home, that is one of the things that I have to kind of keep in mind, is the fact that this shop has actually created something that's going to be hard to leave one day. And I may not find that I actually leave. It may just be I have a home somewhere else and a home here.
Yeah.
And I come back here for the groups.
Well, I will say, you move to Montana, I'll come up and have a cigar with
Yeah,
you.
I'm gonna come
All right.
cigar with you. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we're looking at northern Montana or northern Idaho is probably where we're thinking right now. Like Sandpoint, Bonners Ferry. We're going to go check out Kalispell next summer. I'm not interested. I like Missoula a lot, but I don't know if I want to live like right around there, but maybe a couple hours
Well,
out of it.
I'll have the listeners know Christ definitely drives this shop. If you have not been to a shop that's driven by Christ, you need to come experience it.
You know, a lot of successful businesses are Christ-driven. I mean, my wife's tax office,
Yeah.
you know, she puts a verse of the day up on the wall.
Wow. I
Every
didn't know
day.
that. That's cool.
And she's only ever had, I think, once or twice, someone's come in and saw that. Is this a Christian business? Yes, it is.
Yep,
They
yep.
turned around and left. But the benefit of it is that it makes it.
Goodbye. I'm happy to see him go.
It makes it a safe place for other people because, as Rue knows, my wife is not just a tax consultant. She is a counselor. She is someone that people lean on with their problems, and it gives her an opportunity to share the word of God and pray over people who need it in a tough time.
Who was the first disciple that God asked to follow him?
Simon Peter.
And what was he? Tax collector.
No, that was Matthew.
No, Matthew.
Matthew
actually.
was a tax
Matthew
collector.
first.
Matthew was like the fifth.
Was he?
I think it's the fifth because there was Simon Peter and his brother, and then James and John, and then Matthew.
Matthew was the fifth, okay.
Simon Peter's brother is
Jude. Jude.
no.
No. Jude is what's Jude's? Jude's the brother of gosh.
John Lennon.
Stop. No, Jude's the brother of I thought it was Peter. I gotta look that up again.
Did Peter
Can't
rob
remember
Paul?
what it was.
James and John. Matthew, Mark, Luke.
Bartholomew. You've got Yep. Judas Iscariot. Yep. And Jude.
That took me a while.
Yeah, that was.
That one was like I had to ask my wife. There's two Judas, but Judas, the other Judas, has like three names. Yes. You know.
That might be Jude. That
could
might
be
be the
Jude.
dude. He's the brother of. I can't remember who he's the brother of. Anyways, yeah, look that up again.
Andrew. Simon Peter, Andrew, they're brothers, and then James, John, and then Matthew. Yep. Sons of Zebedee. I tell you what, man, the show The Chosen has really helped me understand things.
Oh, yeah.
And really put it in three-dimensional, if you will. like you can read the stories, which I have since my entire life, but to be able to watch something like The Chosen, just all of a sudden bring these characters, these apostles to life, and you see their persona, and it's really interesting. You see Jesus' persona in this, and I tell you what, I'm really appreciative of The Chosen and how they're representing Jesus, because, you know, I can read the Gospels and be like, Jesus says some of these things that almost sounds like sarcastic. And I say unto you again, you know, come on, boys, like, listen up, man, all right? I'm like the Son of God. Pay attention.
Yep.
You know, and seeing his humility in The Chosen was really necessary for me to get that from, because I kind of have some of these. And honestly, Simon Peter, like watching in the beginning, I was like, dude, you're an asshole. And then you realize that actually is a benefit, not a liability, because he was kind of like Jesus' bodyguard in a sense, and really kept harm away.
Another guy I appreciate bringing this up is Thomas. Thomas is I kind of like the modern day Democrat, if you say. But boy, he wanted to see proof. He got the proof, and he was a believer. I gotta appreciate Thomas.
I will say The Chosen is probably the most well done like series for the Bible, and I really love the way that they portrayed Matthew, and he's in this he seems like he's autistic, and that explains a lot on the way Matthew thinks and the way that he puts things out there. And he seems a little slow in this in the movie, the actor and everything, which actually gives you a whole new outlook on Matthew. And when you're reading the book of Matthew, it's kind of okay, he thinks differently. Like people who have autism, they think differently.
Very high level of thinking.
High level IQ for sure. Yeah.
I also like who was like the Delta Force guy? Simon the Zealot. Yep. Simon the Zealot that's cool. I didn't realize like they had a thing like that back then. The Zealots were like the Delta Force, man.
Oh,
you
know that.
And you're like they even had other Zealots come after Simon the Zealot because he went away from the Zealots or whatever.
Interesting. Okay.
And even in the show, you're like, whoa. And then they actually kind of like cornered him, and they all backed off because they realized that what he was doing was even higher than what they could even understand.
Interesting.
So that was cool. And Simon's Zealot's like always there, like, dude, I'll take him. I got my nut. I'll take him out. You just say the word, Jesus. And I'm like, he's like,
there we go.
Whoa, buddy, we have other things that we can do. But Simon's like, come on, man, give me one chance. I can prove my loyalty to you by like taking out that guy, the Pharisees.
He's like a puppy.
Man. I loved how he's always training. If you see him, he's always doing stuff like he did some like parkour shit. In the show, yeah. Have you seen much of the show?
I haven't seen any of it.
Oh,
I would suggest if you haven't seen The Chosen, and if you have kids who don't like to read, put that on in front of them. Have a family night and start watching The Chosen. You'll start watching it, and you'll be like, okay, we'll watch one episode. Oh no, we got to watch the next one because it keeps you. It keeps you involved, and it's pretty accurate. Like as you're going through the
it
Bible,
should be. It better be, yeah.
And it's really really well done.
Can you imagine, like having this idea, and like me, like let's say I have this idea. I'm like, all right, I know the Bible pretty well, but to go to the depth and the understanding that they needed to have to do this show is unbelievable. They had to have had like a massive group of biblical scholars together to be able to come up with what they came up with. It's phenomenal. I mean, the stuff that is so much deeper that when I'm reading the Bible that I don't comprehend, that they were able to explain. They also were able to explain the cultures, because you had the Pharisees, the Sadducees, and they did an awesome representation of them, and the people who played that did a phenomenal job. Nicodemus, what he was, who he was. He was a Pharisee that was almost kind of going against his own law by going, I want to meet this Jesus and talk to him because it could change everything that I've been about my entire life. And not to mention just obviously the personas, the family life. Like, what do you see a lot with Simon Peter and his wife, who they're trying to have a kid? You see that part. That's us. I mean, that's a lot of people out there that could relate to him. It's just a phenomenal to be able to have that, such that knowledge and understanding of the culture at the time, the Israelites, the Jews, the Gentiles, the Romans. It's just like Gaius that with the Roman soldier he's one with a brain. He's like, I know my job, but I still am intrigued by this Jesus guy. You know, in fact, he was the one who was there to protect Matthew, the tax collector, which was, and Gaius became very, I don't want to say loving. Was that? Yeah, to Matthew. Like sometimes he would have to tell Matthew, go home, take a weekend break, buddy. Just relax, get out of this environment, scenario, go do your thing. Just a phenomenal thing. So any of you out there, if you haven't watched The Chosen, I think, let's get through Christmas and you're looking for something to watch the first of the year, I would absolutely recommend it.
I actually think it's on Netflix, isn't it?
It's Amazon Prime.
It's on Prime. Okay, it's on Prime, but they also do a really good job where you can go online on their website and you can buy, I think there's 3 seasons, or there's 4 seasons now. And you can go online and they even let you, or ask if you want to like donate to give to people who can't afford it, and then they'll send it out if you can't afford it. But it's cool that it's actually streamed on one of the platforms now too.
And interesting enough, Jonathan Rumi, who plays Jesus, has really engulfed that role. And in fact, even him and Mark Wahlberg, interestingly enough, kind of have a thing like, if you need us, we'll pray for you. Which I like.
Wait, Mark Wahlberg's in it?
No, he's not. But this is outside of The Chosen. They have things like they follow Jonathan Rumi. It's kind of a documentary about like going places and basically portraying Jesus, but being able to talk about him in the role, him as a human, just a normal guy who now has been set up to play this role, has been really interesting to kind of see. It's very humbling, as you can see with him. There's a lot of side things that kind of happen from The Chosen that you can go on Prime and actually see.
There's years ago, probably 10 years ago, do you know who Bill O'Reilly is? He did a documentary, I think it was called Finding Jesus, something like that.
Killing Jesus.
Killing Jesus, that was it. Have you read that?
No, I haven't. That was his series. He would have
shit.
Killing this person, killing that person. That was his kind
of... What Bill O'Reilly did, which why I absolutely love him for, is he did not take the Christianity side of killing Jesus. He took basically modern documentation, eyewitness reports, things like that, of all about the Jesus reports of the Roman times. And what he really, I guess, highlighted was what the Romans were doing at the time, and like the culture, what Jesus was involved with, like in that group and everything. It was fascinating, and I like it because he didn't take the Christianity side. He took the side of eyewitnesses, and it really proves the power that Jesus had and the works that he did. It's amazing.
How do you think a role like this for actors who play Christian-based movies and stuff like that, how do you think it affects their life outside of the role they're playing? Like, for instance, the guy who plays Jesus in The Chosen. I mean, people who see him recognize him as Jesus, like as far as for the show, but like it's got to change how you are in your everyday life.
That's what he talked about.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying is the documentaries that follow him and he goes and he speaks and he talks about that. I mean, it's a life-changing role.
Absolutely. There was a bunch of documentaries about Jim Caviezel when he played Jesus on The Passion of the Christ. That absolutely changed his life, for sure.
I mean, it's got to
change your life.
You got to have Jesus' hands have to be on you to play a role like that, and
I would think so.
And it's got to be leading you through this role.
I would think so.
And it's a role that not just anyone can do.
The Passion of the Christ was fascinating because Jim Caviezel, he was number one. He was JC, Jim Caviezel, Jesus Christ, JC. There's a lot of weird stuff with that. He was 33 years old when he took that part. There's another weird one. So there's a bunch of stuff with the Passion of the Christ and Jim Caviezel. So when you get that part of Jesus, to answer your question, I think it absolutely changes your life, for sure.
Oh, Jim Caviezel, I think, was a perfect person to do that.
Perfect. Yep.
And not only that, like how he spoke in the movie, it was all in Hebrew.
Yeah.
And it was interesting, like when basically he's on the cross and you kind of hear him talking with the other two on the crosses.
Holy cow.
And just it was powerful. I can't really watch it again.
I know.
It's
I only
actually
watched it
too
once.
graphic
That
for
was
me.
it. Yep.
In fact, quite honestly, I'm really having a hard time ever reading about the crucifixion of Christ. It's a hard thing, especially once you see the Passion of Christ.
Oh yeah, that was
man.
tough to watch him walk with that and the
Yeah.
thorns and
Everything was tough on that
and
one.
they did a phenomenal. Mel Gibson directed it.
Oh, yeah.
They did a phenomenal job with the 39 lashings.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you see them hitting and ripping skin off. Like, what the? Seriously?
Yeah.
And I mean, there's a point where your body almost deadens because, just for survival aspect of it. But to take those lashes for us, it's a powerful thing. And seeing the Passion of Christ and then watching The Chosen, that's one of the things where when The Chosen hits the point of Jesus being crucified, I'm going to struggle with that one.
Oh, for
And I
sure.
can tell you right now, I've thought of this time and time again. If I was there in that time, I'd be the one crucifying Jesus. I'd be like, man, get his ass out of here. Who does he think he is? Son of God? The Son of God. Like, if you right now, if you take it, somebody showing up right now in our social media, our world of media, all that, pretty much saying, I'm the Messiah. Dude, you know damn well that we are going to be absolutely skeptical and be more like, nah, dude, come on now. You're not the guy. But yet he's doing all these miracles. You know, I still think, nah.
when it comes down to it, aren't we all the Son of God?
Sure.
I mean,
in.
we try to be. You know, the neatest thing about that movie that I pulled out is Satan. You remember how they portrayed Satan through that scene? She was a female. She
Yeah.
was gliding in and out of all the people. Dude, that is a perfect representation of Satan right there. Like, what did they portray her as? What's the female version of Satan that they call? I can't remember the name of her.
Hillary?
Nice. No. Bashira? No. I'll have to come back on that. I can't remember the name they call her. But yeah, she basically glides over the earth and the porn industry is full of her. You know what I mean? Like Jezebel, there it is. The spirit of Jezebel. There she is. Thank you. Producer pulled her out. So she was going through the crowds. And the image of her, I cannot get out of my mind. It's like, that's exactly what she would look like, dude. Beautiful lady, dark, sinister. There she is. That's Satan.
Well, we were at the end of the cigar,
Hold on,
so
I'm going to keep this going. We'll come back to that. I just read something yesterday, and I thought it was like, it actually kind of hit me, is the number one way Satan gets into our lives, men's life, is through porn.
I would wholly agree with that.
And
Jezebel's powerful, dude.
Yep, and
That
I
chick
was-
is something else.
I was reading this thing. I think it's Innovative Minds that I follow. Our pastor buddy who leads Holy Smokes was the one who kind of like somehow threw me into Innovative Minds. He sent me something. So I was like, I'll follow it. And it started talking. They actually shared something from another guy who talks about how Satan pulls you in. And it's as subtle as social media, and you see women on Instagram, kind of, I'm assuming, promoting themselves on OnlyFans or whatever. And I've been kind of doing that lately because it's like, it's intriguing. You know, like I said, like we said earlier, like, oh, you know, we're men, that's what we do. And I swear, as soon as I read that, it was like turning it off. Like, I'm not looking at those because I feel convicted. You know,
Absolutely,
and it
yeah.
wasn't anything, and I would even say somewhat innocent in a sense, in the relativity of it all. Like, I don't go to Pornhub. I don't go. I just found out another one, like YouPorn. I don't do any of these things. Like you said, like I got a wife at home that I just love, and I don't want to do anything to jeopardize that. But when I started reading about that you know what, this is one way that Satan kind of reaches in and kind of grabs you. I was like, son of a bitch, man, that guy's actually talking to me right now. So I
Huge,
found myself
yeah.
being like, I'm good.
Yep.
If it comes up now, just like, yeah, pass.
Yeah, so the spirit of Jezebel is a big deal. It captures a lot of guys. It scours them. It like basically draws them in. And if you can just keep that in the back of your mind, guys, and be like, all right, that's the spirit of Jezebel. You need to remember that. You can fight that. You can definitely counter that for sure. So let's get back to let's give some ratings.
Yeah.
We're down. In fact, I just took a last poll and it burned my finger. So
all right. So I think with this cigar, I love the size of it. It was a great smoke, great draw all the way through. It burned a little uneven from time to time. I think I will give this probably a 96.
oh,
This is
nice.
probably where I'm going to put this cigar.
What did you give the Troublemaker?
A 98.
Oh, 98. Okay.
So the Troublemaker burned. It was a perfect burn, and
man, that was so
it,
good.
it was The flavors really kind of stood out. I would say this is probably a medium to full cigar. It's not overpowering, but I think just with the fact that it burned a little uneven, I'm gonna give it a 96.
Awesome. Yeah, this cigar actually shocked me. So, Troublemaker was. I'm glad we smoked the Troublemaker to kind of put everything in reference. The floral note.
Troublemaker?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who put out the Troublemaker?
J.C. Newman.
Oh yeah. That's a brand new one. So we just got a chance to smoke that this year. I'm gonna agree with Adam. I'm gonna go ahead and go with a 96 on this. That's a perfect rating. I love it. It's a good cigar, good burn. The flavors were unique, I will say.
This is a fantastic cigar. This is a cigar that I'm not having every week. I'm probably having it like once a month, special occasions, things like that. This is not a golf course cigar. This is not a fly fishing cigar. This is not shooting guns with your buddies. This is a cigar you really want to sit down and you want to enjoy. I think the pull was fantastic. The amount of smoke was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. The flavors were just awesome because there were so many of them, and that was enjoyable. You know, especially being ADD, you want to find I just think that was coffee. Oh, that was earth. Oh, that was cream. So I really enjoyed that. The negative aspect, the con, would be the fact that it did not burn evenly for me. I've had to touch mine up a few times. Not only that, at one point mine went out, and I had to relight it.
Saw it.
So that's a little annoying. It's not really a big deal because most cigars that we probably have are going to probably do that anyway.
You spoke for a long time too. I'll add that.
With that being said, I also like the size. I like the fact that it's a Churchill. I think that does better than if it was a 6x60 like Gigante, because I think you're really in the Churchill, being the smaller gauge, you're getting more of the flavors versus like they're just giving me filler. So I'm actually going to rate it at a 97.
Nice.
It's actually
I like it.
a little bit bigger than a Churchill because I think a Churchill is a 52 by 7.5, and I think this was a 54.
You are absolutely correct. So they
So-
call that a figurado.
Yeah.
So we are smoking same thing as a Troublemaker. It's a figurado, and it's going to elevate that cigar for
Yeah,
sure.
it's a little bit more than a Churchill.
Yeah, for sure.
It did smoke a long time, which a cigar like this, I'm really glad. Like
Absolutely.
you were talking about having the box of Robustos. Man, I would find myself disappointed at the end of the Robusto.
You just find yourself wanting more.
Yeah,
It is.
You
Yep.
probably smoked 2 Robustos because you want to keep it going.
Yep.
And I think this, I'm just going to call it a Churchill. I think by having that, you really get a great return on investment. with
Nice.
this
Nicely
cigar.
said. I like that.
So he has these cigars in stock right now, and they are $39.
For the
for the
sophisticated
Figurado.
hooker, Yep.
And he only has a few left, so they are very hard to come by.
Yep.
He has a limit of 2. You can't buy more than
can't
2.
buy more than 2. Some guy came in and tried to buy a box, and I said no. So
Yeah, so
It
I
is
mean,
well worth the $39. I mean, this is a $39
It is.
cigar.
It
This
is.
is a $40 cigar, and you are not going to be disappointed.
well, I'll tell you, online I saw that a place was selling them for $60 a stick, and it was $1,500 for a box. So I mean,
about right. That's the Opus X prices.
Yep. $39 is a great price if you want to get your hands on this. And if you buy 2, I would suggest smoking one and putting one away for let it age for a while, and then smoke that one. And
Yep.
you'll be surprised what you get out of it.
Yep. Well, Fuente did it again. We love it.
Thank
We
you,
love
Fuente.
you guys. Thank you
Great
for
job.
allowing us to have this product in our shop. Totally appreciate it. And,
Merry Christmas, guys. We'll
Merry
see you next year.